Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I, man, here from the Block Runner, and today we have to talk about Cardano. It's been
Mm,
dominating the markets.
yeah, why?
Yeah. Look at this chart, dude. It's you have a little bit of a history with Cardano, and you're in this zone over here when you
Well,
were involved.
anybody who was around last cycle knows what Cardano is. It's one of the conglomerate of next gen blockchains that were introduced to the market that were promising kill Ethereum basically. This was one of those, and the founder of this project actually has a history with Ethereum. I think he was one of the original co-founders, but he had a falling out somehow. That's kind of what put me off. Like back then, I have a track record of selling things too early for sure. This is definitely one of those.
Yeah,
But I have my reasonings for that because like I've heard of back then there was a lot of rumor mills going around about Charles Hoskinson being difficult to work with type personality.
yeah.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. We've heard such thing as from like Steve Jobs. He actually kind of reminds you of Steve Jobs a little bit. Like his strength is in his speaking ability. Now
He's
fast forward,
charismatic.
huh?
He's charismatic.
Yeah, just like Steve Jobs was, right? Like he can convince the world to do anything. And I
Yeah,
think if you don't know who I'm talking about, Charles Hoskinson, he's the founder of this project. So I mean, it was very promising. It was along the lines of an EOS project. It's very similar. The consensus mechanism was very similar to delegated proof of stake, but they called it something else, and they claimed it was more peer reviewed. And it's been 4 years, and we still haven't seen a launch of this chain. I don't think. I think everything's still in testnet. So more reasons to put me off to this project. But regardless of what my own personal beliefs were, the price has done nothing but go up
yeah.
about it.
So in 2017, it ballooned to about dollar 10 cents, dollar 15, and then it was like it dumped just like everything else in 2018, right?
Yeah.
And it did nothing in 2019. And we have 2020 sort of resurgence. This is when the start of the cycle began, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden, just since the end of December, it just ballooned. I mean, it did a what is that, a 10x?
Mhm. I don't
So
know how much it is, but
and then I guess the real question is, why did it balloon 10x since in 2 months? Like what's going on? And we haven't been able to determine why it's skyrocketed.
at least from a fundamental value, I know why it's going up. But like, if you're looking for fundamentals, you're not gonna find them.
Why do you
I mean,
think it's going up then?
well, like I just described, this project has the most charismatic leader to it. If you follow his social media, like his YouTube channel, every single day he's out there,
Yeah.
speaking to his community. Something that a lot of projects could probably learn from. Like he's the ultimate transparency figure. Something we personally like to endorse when it comes to project founders. They should be as transparent as possible with their community. And this guy takes it to the next level. He's literally like daily live streaming. Like his thoughts and opinions on the space, and he's connected to a large amount of people
Yeah.
by doing.
Yeah.
So I mean, and they believe in him, even though it's taken 4 years to launch this product. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he's waiting around.
It's because
You
he's
know,
gonna do it himself, dude. That's why.
fine, I'll do it to myself. I don't even know what that means, dude. But yeah, I mean, just of
Don't tell me you haven't seen Avengers, dude. Infinity
course not,
War.
dude. I'm not
Wow.
6 years old, dude. But the
uh,
point is, man, yeah, I mean, me talking about it's not going to do him any justice. You actually have to go just YouTube Charles Hoskinson after you watch this video. Listen to some of his like keynote speaks at whatever conference he's been at, dude. Like he could potentially like rule the world one day. Like he's that charismatic.
so
Like there's a lot of power in that.
going through their website, they say a lot of good things, like something that you want to hear as a scientist, right? Cardano is a proof of stake blockchain, the first to be founded on peer reviewed research, right? That's sort of what you want to see from like a stable platform that you'd want to deploy your project on, right? And there's a lot of these hints like all over the website, like it's peer reviewed, it's been like fully tested,
Hey,
but
but not true. Like we already know what developers want to see more than anything, and it's
yeah,
it's it's adoption, it's liquidity, it's these things like that. It's not empty promises. Anybody could spin up a glorious web page that says all these magnificent things and like claim, okay, look at all these. They could publish as many like computer science articles and whatnot as they can. But at the end of the day, all that really matters is developer adoption. That's why everybody chooses to develop on Ethereum.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, but when you go back to 2017, and if you were to read this, right, as part of
Yeah.
like your fundamental analysis, because at the time there was very little developer adoption, there was very little developed like in that time because everything was more speculative. But
Everything was this. Like
so,
all you had to go off was this.
oh yeah, exactly, well, a website, and you couldn't really test anything. But that
Yeah.
explains the last peak, right? It explains like, oh, there's a lot of potential here. I'm going to invest. And then of
Yeah.
course it crashes like everything else. And then, but its current resurgence there's no merit to it, right?
We're in a different market phase now. Like we're
Well,
if you find chart histories like that for projects today, usually they have widely adopted platforms underpinning that value,
that's
like
right.
an Aave, like a Synthetics, or something that has billions of dollars of liquidity locked into it.
Exactly.
But we haven't seen that with Cardano, so it's a little what like with WTF. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why is Cardano the outlier? Like, when there's fully functioning, smart contracts on lesser known blockchain silos like Avalanche and Elrond
Mm-hmm.
and Cosmos, even like, things we haven't talked about yet, but they're there, they exist, and they're gonna have their time to shine. But
But for some
yeah,
reason, Cardano has reached a $40 billion market cap
yeah, and it's
on
running the whole thing. Yeah, it's
uh,
interesting.
essentially on vaporware. But
Yeah.
there's nothing that we can like interact with on Cardano.
There
Nothing.
isn't. There's no DApps that's like, a couple days away from launching. There's no DEX that I can, start swapping my tokens with.
Right.
Like, what's happening here? So, I mean, this is
So
just a good example of like, the crypto market, has its finicky sides to it. You know what I mean? Like,
there are projects, but all those projects are done by the Cardano team or IOHK, right? There's Atala for education, right? And then Atala Scan for retail. If the intent is to make a blockchain that's peer reviewed, scientific approved, all this stuff, and their intention is to build on their own blockchain and in their own ecosystem, then it makes sense. But if you go look into any of these projects, there's like very little like beyond the website, and so I mean it's just kind of difficult to really get behind something like this when after 4 years there hasn't been a whole lot of adoption. And then the same goes with EOS. Right, EOS had huge promises. Right, they raised $4 billion, and all
yeah.
they came out with was a website called The Voice. And
I mean, there's other DApps out there like in the works, but definitely nothing like huge. I mean, Wax is built on EOS, one of the biggest NFT ecosystems in existence. They got mainstream brands minting on their platform, but still, yeah, EOS. So why isn't EOS 40 billion
yeah,
today?
right.
EOS was just as promising, if not more, than Cardano back in the life cycle. They had a $4 billion ICO,
Yeah,
shattered all records. So like, where are they? The difference is they don't have this guy,
yeah,
leading the charge, like building that sentiment, that positive sentiment behind his product. That's the thing. EOS has been a live chain for 3 years now. We have Cardano. Dude, I don't like all y'all Cardano Moonwood. I don't want to shit on like Cardano, but it's just like, man, I've been keeping up with this project for years, and I remember during the peak of the bear market when you're expecting the most development to be happening. I remember seeing Hoskinson just on his Twitter every fucking week, like a new like vacation photo, like,
okay.
oh, check me out in the mountains of some fucking obscure location,
Yeah,
That's what he did for like years, pretty much. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, shouldn't he be like building?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if he would have not done all that traveling and like enjoying the new wealth that he just kind of like siphoned away from 2017, they would have a fucking mainnet product by now. You
Right.
know what I mean? So I mean,
I mean, we're not alone in this sentiment.
yeah,
For example, Anthony Sassano,
yeah,
the fact that Cardano, a platform that doesn't have smart contracts, is worth 35 billion based purely on narrative and promises is the perfect example why crypto runs on 99% narratives and 1% fundamentals. I think this channel is focused on the 1%, right? Not the 99% narratives, because, from what I can tell, I don't think it seems like very promising what Cardano is doing. Like this guy is saying, 99% is run on some other narrative juice that will propel a project to $40 billion. And then you have like the opposite of this is like, have you considered that perhaps the market knows something about Cardano that you don't? Like that's not a valid response. Like there's no tangible aspect to Cardano that you can point to that justifies a $40 billion valuation.
I guess the thing he's alluding to, like the market knows something about Cardano that you don't. It would basically, in my mind, it's the market who's supporting this token. It's like a belief in a singular force, like the Hoskinson guy.
Yeah.
They all believe he's going to deliver on these promises, and one day the rest of the world will catch on and like realize the greatness that's been built
Sure.
right before our eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but this is sort of like insulting. It's like something about everybody knows something about Cardano that this guy doesn't. There's nothing that the market can know that you can't know. Like if the market believes that this is worth 40 billion dollars, there should be something to justify that, right? But we can't find it.
Yeah, I mean, you could arguably say the same. Okay, because like Polkadot's neck and neck with Cardano. We're obviously like huge Polkadot supporters, but you can argue like they're relatively in the same realm as
Sure.
far as vaporware
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed.
There's nothing launched on Polkadot, right? Like, show with Polkadot's just as overvalued as Cardano in that sense, but there's a lot more
But
evidence
you
of
can point to projects that are trying to onboard onto Polkadot.
yeah, there's plenty of evidence of like legitimate developer adoption on that ecosystem as opposed to Cardano.
Right.
That's kind of why it's a safer bet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If anything is gonna take off like ecosystem wise in the near term, I'd put my chips on Polkadot for sure.
Yeah.
The market is not agreeing.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's lesser known chains further down this list that the market's not recognizing either. So there's opportunity there. Maybe like a Cosmos, a Solana. I mean, if you just keep going down, skipping over Tron intentionally, an Avalanche, an Elrond, all these chains.
Yeah.
They have functioning ecosystems with plenty of developers working on them. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's the market's crazy sometimes, but
I mean,
yeah,
I guess that's what you would expect from an impending bull market, right? We're in the middle of it. So you're going to see crazy things like this. It's a wild bet, of course. I mean, Charles Hoskinson, as good as a speaker he is, I don't know if it makes sense to like continue pumping this coin, right? Just for the sake of speaking ability.
I don't know.
But
But it's just a testament to how important community is and marketing and all that stuff. A lot of that shit is
underplayed.
I guess, from like some of the fundamentals, like some of the most fundamental projects we've seen, like XDAI. We've been talking about the fundamental value of XDAI. XDAI has done what Matic is doing like way before, and like
That's true.
QuickSwap's blowing up, but HoneySwap existed before it. Like XDAI already had layer 2 decentralized exchanges before anybody else did.
Yeah.
How come that didn't explode?
Yeah.
Because they're totally neglecting the most important aspect of this market, and it is the narrative.
That's a good point, dude.
Matic has taken control of that narrative. We are the layer 2 solution, even though they're executing later the next day.
Yeah.
It's just
That's a good point. I mean,
Yeah.
a narrative can take you to a $40 billion project, essentially.
pretty much.
But
yeah.
fundamentals will not. Just
Not-
fundamentals by itself will not take you to anything close to that.
Yeah, so that has to be factored in for all of us who are speculating in this market. Like when if you want to make your bets, you can't just go purely off fundamental, technology. Maybe one day like fundamentals will win over.
But you know what? Fundamentals does include the marketing aspect to it. I mean, if you look at it from like an objective standpoint, you do have to consider the marketing ability of the team that you're investing in. It's not that you just need tech and tech will propel you to, $100 billion corporation as an investment. It's a little bit of everything, but we have evidence, like experience with this with the internet. There were so many protocols when the internet was being developed that did not get adopted that were so significantly better than what exists today that just because of, the marketing aspect, right? It's not just tech. It's the ability to have someone behind the tech to push that tech, even if it's lesser tech than competitors. I mean, we've seen that before.
And this in crypto, it's even like it's 10 times what the internet was as far as how important community is. Community is literally everything in this market.
Yeah.
It's the driver of everything.
So
at some point, we'll govern everything. So yeah, it's important. Yeah. Having said that,
you have
good luck with Cardano. Hopefully, I'll put out some banger products here pretty soon. Just because they're just because like it doesn't make sense today doesn't mean, they might pull something out of,
Oh, for sure.
maybe
Yeah.
they'll actually utilize this market position for good. Hopefully we don't see Charles like vacation run 2.0 here pretty soon. You know what I
Well,
mean?
he's running out of places in that case. Like
It
the
seems like
next vacation is like Mars.
exactly.
Yeah.
He's gonna dump the whole Cardano treasury on a fucking Mars trip.
Yeah.
You never know, dude.
All right. So yeah, that was Cardano. Let us know what you think about Cardano. Have you invested? Did you take advantage of this 10x run here? And let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at the Block Runner and also at MetaZone.io. And we will see you in the next video.
Peace.